I told y'all several videos ago that I was going to fill this entire plot right here with beans. This is the year for growing canning crops, growing storage crops, things we can put up and save for later. And today I'm sticking to my word. So this here has been designated as our bean plot in the Dream Garden this year. One of our 30 by 35 plots. This is where we had our overwintered carrots. I just got the last row of carrots up a few days ago. Got this cleaned up there, got some compost incorporated. You can see I had to rake out some of that junk from them carrots. Got it nice and cleaned up, compost incorporated in there. So we got clean little slate here, this little piece of this plot. Got these beans over here we planted several videos ago. We got our Kentucky Wonder pole beans here. Those things are starting to climb. Looking pretty dang good. It took them a little while to get going compared to some of these bush beans, but feeling a lot better about it now. And those things should start blooming pretty soon. We go on the other side of our trellis netting here. We've got our 2 rows of momentum bush beans, and these puppies are blooming now. So it won't be long before we have some beans. See some blooms right there. And then over here, we've got our Royal Burgundy beans, and these things make a good bit more foliage than those momentum beans do. And we can see lots of blooms here on these guys here. And I expect to have beans pretty shortly from these guys. And then on this end, I planted a double row on drip tape, which is how I like to plant my beans, or at least the bush beans, of these golden wax beans. So we got some yellow beans here coming along, kind of succession planted, purple beans and green beans over there. I do need to get in here and thin these out a little bit. I like to plant them thick and then come in here and thin them out to every few inches or so. So I need to thin those out. Those should take off pretty quick. And we'll have rounds and rounds of beans coming in, hopefully, including what we're going to plant today. And you know what they say about beans? The more you eat them, the more you toot. The more you toot, the better you feel. So looks like we're going to be having beans at every meal. So what kind of beans should we plant in the middle of this bean plot here? Now, I've studied on it quite a bit, thought about it. I've got green pole beans with the Kentucky Blues. I've got yellow bush beans with the golden wax. I've got purple bush beans with the Royal Burgundy. I've got green bush beans with the momentum variety. Now I thought about planting some Provider or Jade bush beans there to have some more green ones for canning. I know both of those are good varieties, heard a lot of good things about them, but I changed my mind and I'm planting something else. I'm going to be planting, turn this around right, these things right here called half runner beans. Now I've never grown any half runner beans, but I've been hearing a lot about them, especially this year. Tons of our viewers and our customers have been telling us about how they love to grow these half runner beans. And supposedly these are green beans. They get a little shorter than normal ones. They're about 4 inches long or so, but they're vining. They climb really good. It's supposed to have just some really dense foliage, supposed to be really productive. And Dad tells me that back in the day when he was growing up, the farmers around here used to grow acres and acres of these half runner beans. So something that's been around for a while, but I really haven't heard of a lot of people growing them until our customers started telling me about them this year. And the variety that we've got, so as soon as the customers started telling me about that, I said I got to get one of these half runner bean varieties to carry on our site. So I got this variety here called Mountaineer half runner bean, and that's the one we're going to be planting today. So I'm going to put these in the ground, and then we're going to do a Hortonova trellis once they come up to give them something to climb on, because from what I hear, these things make some long runners. Now I've got me about a 12 to 15 foot spot to play with right here, and having never grown these things and hearing how they vine so much, I think I'm going to just put 2 rows in here. So we're just going to we ain't going to get our stakes out and lay it off or anything. We're just going to kind of pick the middle here and put us 2 rows in there, and we'll see how they go. So I'm gonna get my wheel hoe, make me some furrows where my rows are gonna be. I've got some drip tape that I pulled up from those carrots I can recycle because the length is all the same. I can put that back down, we'll cover it up, and then we'll be ready to make us a seed plate to plant these half runner beans. All right, so let's take a look at what we're working with as far as our seed plate. Now, this is the seed plate we use to plant these momentum bush beans and those royal burgundy bush beans, and it worked great for those golden wax bush beans. So we had to drill out the holes on this number 3 plate here so that these beans could lay flat in these holes, and this plate worked well. But I've never grown these Mountaineer half runners, so we need to see if it's going to work good. This plate is going to work good for that variety as well. So let's get this pack open here and see what these seeds look like. I got a feeling they're going to be a little smaller, and they are. So these aren't near as we look at them comparatively. These momentum beans are longer, more traditional bean shape. These things are kind of round, almost shaped like a pea. So we're gonna have to do something a little different, because this, what's gonna happen in here is we're gonna start to get some doubles in there, and 2 are gonna get jammed in there, and those holes are just too big. So we're gonna have to figure something else out there, different seed plate for these half runner beans. So I was digging around in my plate stash. So this is the number 3 plate we drilled for the big beans. This is our standard 3 plate, which works really good for okra. And I happened to find this guy. I can't remember what I used this for. Might have been some peas, some garden peas or English peas or something like that. Anyway, I think this is gonna work. Let's see here. We'll put those beans in here, in these holes, and make sure they don't get stuck. We can jiggle them around there and pick that up. That's gonna work like a charm right there. It's always good to have, keep your old plates. You never know when you might find one you're gonna use again. And this one right here is gonna work perfect for us in our garden cedar. So I've got my 2 rows laid out here with my drip tape buried. You can see that little mound right there. That's where my drip tape's buried. I got 1 there and then 1 right there. So these rows are probably about, I don't know, 5, 5.5, 6 feet apart. We should be plenty of room for these guys. So I'm just gonna plant a single row right on top of this drip tape, much like we did. You saw us doing a video with that corn over there. Now, should I, could I, would I plant these on double rows like I did those bush beans? I don't know. Maybe I could. Hopefully some of you veteran half runner bean growers out there can help me out with this. But for today's sake, because I'm new to this half runner bean thing, I'm gonna plant these on single rows. So we're gonna put our plate in there, our cone, our brush. Make sure that brush is sitting in that groove right there. And then if we can get this wing nut here going. Spin that puppy around. Barely tighten it. Pour some of these half runner bean seeds in here. And y'all don't blink, because this ain't gonna take me just a second. Got my depth set to about 3/4 of an inch, which is where I want to be. Maybe between 1/2 and 3/4. And we should be good to go. All right. So our bean plot is completely planted now. I feel real good about that. Glad to get that done, get those carrots out of the way, get these beans growing in there. We're gonna have a lot of beans to eat around here. We're gonna eat a lot of them fresh. We'll snap them, we'll boil them with some bacon grease, just regular old green beans. We like to put some in the oven and kind of, you know, crisp them up that way whole. They're really good that way. And I even think some of these half runner beans are gonna be really good pickled. Since it's a short bean, I never pickled any beans, but I really want to try it. And I think they're gonna be the perfect size to put in some small jars and pickle them. So I'm gonna let that drip run for another 30 minutes or so, and then probably just turn it off. We're supposed to have some rain coming tomorrow, which will soak them in real good, hopefully get some real good fast germination on those. Once they come up, then I'll come in there with my Horta Nova trellis and put that up just like I did with my Kentucky Blue pole beans over there on the other side of this plot. And for those of you guys out there that's been growing half runner beans for a while, this is where I need your help. I need you to let me know any tips and tricks, what to expect with these beans. You know, do I need to get my buckets ready? Am I going to be picking these things pretty frequently? Just tell me what to expect with these guys, and any tips you have as far as trellising them or making them really, really productive. I'm really excited about growing them. And if you haven't ever grown these half runner beans, I'll put a link below so you can get you some of these seeds and join along in this journey with me. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. If you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up and check out these other 2 videos right here. I think you'll really enjoy those as well. We'll see you next time.